Good afternoon. This is Caroline Hazard, and I support the Department of Energy and Oak Ridge National Lab on the Jump into STEM program. We're excited to kick things off today with our renewed effort focused on university students, engaging them in the challenges that Jump offers. I've got everybody in listen-only mode. If we get to the question part, I may opt to unmute you to ask your question, but in the meantime, go ahead and type in any questions as they come up into the questions field, questions window box, and we'll get to those. If we run out of time, I will make sure that we answer those questions and they get posted online to the jump.ideascale.com website. So this webinar will also be recorded and will be posted at that site, so you can look at this later. Other students and professors can look at it later. Let's get started. Okay, we've got a pretty jam-packed webinar and some exciting panelists here. This is our agenda for the hour. I'm going to go over how Jump into STEM works, the eligibility requirements for the exciting awards that are available for students, our schedule, partnership opportunities for colleges and universities, and our current challenge, which is open right now, connecting the right data at the right time. This is being augmented with this webinar by our panelists, which have joined us. Maddie Salton from the US DOE will speak on the home energy score, and Sandy Adamitis will speak on data and the evaluation process. Just a little background on each of them. Maddie is the residential energy fellow at the U.S. Department of Energy's Building Technology Office. She focuses on the Home Energy Score program, a tool to bring accurate home energy information at low cost to American families and the real estate market. She also supports BTO with analysis on workforce training, STEM education, and grid interactive efficient buildings. So that's really great. We've got Maddie here today. And we also have Sandy Adamitis, who's been a real estate appraiser for more than 30 years. She's an instructor for the Appraisal Institute courses and a developer of courses for appraisers. Her specialty and passion is valuing energy efficient homes and solar voltaic systems. So I'm really excited to have them on. Welcome. But just quickly, let's get into what is Jump. The genesis of this is really thinking about how we can foster innovation. So Jump is really about a state of mind and how we can think about new ideas and present those in a crowdsourcing manner and come up with the best solutions and be creative. It's a new focus this year that we're kicking off with a focus on the STEM workforce with a partnership between Oak Ridge National Lab, the U.S. Department of Energy, and NREL. We also have involvement from Oak Ridge Associated Universities, otherwise known as ORNL. So all of these groups are contributing to helping us do Jump into STEM and offer opportunities for students and universities and colleges to get involved. Our objective for the program, we've got 4 objectives in this year, are really to expand this reach to universities and colleges, students, cultivate advancement of women and minorities. This is a particular thrust that we would like to do this year. So we will be doing some special marketing to minority serving institutions and including criteria for folks to have diverse teams. More on that in a bit. We're also seeking to offer an online flexible platform for universities and college professors, seeking to engage them in a way that they might be able to offer the Jump challenges as part of coursework. And then, of course, last but not least, we want to motivate creative thinking and ideation for the advancement of buildings research and innovation. This is at the core of what we do for the Department of Energy, and I think engaging the bright minds of students in universities and colleges to help us do that and get involved is really going to be critical to the success of this program here. Hopefully you're all seeing my screen here with 3 bars. If not, please chat into the window. How are we engaging students on innovation research? We're offering these online challenges. There will be 2 to 3 rolling throughout this semester. As I already mentioned, we'll be looking to cultivate team diversity with an inclusion for women and minorities. And our challenges will generally focus on things like grid-connected buildings, use of data for improved building performance, and zero energy-ready building design, kind of leveraging some of the other work that the Building Technologies Office is doing. These challenges will be supported by other events, such as this one, where we'll be offering a series of webinars, 2 to 3 each for each challenge. We will also be offering an in-person event that we're working on scheduling right now, but that'll likely be in early spring or late winter. This is a Jumpathon rapid innovation ideation opportunity for students. Each of the challenges that are offered in the fall semester will lead to some finalists, and those finalists will be invited to compete in a final competition in the spring of 2019, where folks will be invited to apply for paid summer internships at Oak Ridge National Lab or at NREL. There's also going to be opportunities for recognition and presentations for the finalists. Okay, how does this work? Let's go through this pretty quick here. Basically, these are some steps here. Register at jump.ideascale.com, form your team. Again, it's great if you can include diverse majors and departments. You can participate as an individual. You do not have to be a team, but we are looking to cultivate some diversity there. And then, of course, participate in these webinars or download them from the website and view them later. Then what you want to do is review the challenges. I'll show you where those are, and you can read through them, look at what we're looking for, and think about your ideas and submit them. You can include any supplementary information by attaching it. You can also join in the discussion by looking at other students' ideas and discussing them, providing comments back, or voting on them. This is a great way to kind of get involved and help people improve their ideas or just share your thoughts on things. And then we also want you to participate in the regional Jumpathon. And if you're selected in the down select process, you'll want to apply to the internship application process for the HERE program or the Building Technology Minority Serving Institution program. These are 2 avenues to follow. And then you'd be participating in the finalist event in the spring, which of course leads to the paid summer internship program at NREL. So eligibility requirements, this is a quick review of it. To participate in JUMP, you must be a legal resident of the United States in the District of Columbia, 18 years of age or older, and a current university or college student. We will also evaluate teams for things like representation by 2 or more academic departments, representation by women and or minority students, and demonstrated contributions by all team members. These are criteria that the judges will consider as they review people's applications, or their ideas rather. And in this last little box here, this is just a quick view of some of the internship requirements for the HERE and BTMSI internship program. They echo the ones above. You need to verify that you are a student, a minimum GPA of 3.0, and have medical insurance, and at least 1 reference from an academic or professional source. Okay, this is a quick screenshot of what Jump into STEM looks like. This is, you can see up here, hopefully you can see my cursor here. It's jump.ideascale.com. This is your portal into everything. You can see this gets you back to home. This is just a screenshot, so I can't click anything here. This button here gets you registered. the Start Now button. This gives you more, learn more, gives you more information about how Oak Ridge is working with advancing the STEM fields. This box here is going to be a critical one to you. The current challenges. This is how you'll enter into finding your review of any current challenges and submitting your ideas. And then any news and events are over here. Up along the top are also additional pieces of information on a reminder of how it works, kind of like the slide I went through a little bit ago, how colleges and universities can get involved with academic partnerships, our schedule, frequently asked questions, and so on. You can read that as you go. So I mentioned here, just back for a second, if you click on this current challenges in round one, right now there's only one opportunity. Down the road we'll also have round 2 and 3, and if you click that, it will take you to a page like this where the current challenge is open. This is the text that tells you what is this challenge that we're running right now, which is connecting the right data at the right time to improve residential building performance. This is your current open challenge, and this button up here, submit new idea, is once you've read through this challenge, when you're ready to submit, if you click this button, again, this is not live, this is just a screen capture, you'll be able to see another little window where you can type in your ideas and you can attach a file with any information. So I encourage you to come here. You can see the site as not as a registrant, but to submit an idea, you need to be registered. And if you recall, what I mentioned is to register, you want to do the Start Now, and that takes you to a registration, or you could do login over here, register. Okay, so this is the second half of the page. Once you're in the system, it gives you a little bit more detail. I was able to pull it up as a bigger screenshot. We've got, for more, I wanted to show this to you because we've got more information on each of the challenges at the bottom with any information on the associated webinars. This is also where this more details is where I will be posting the webinar when it's ready to go up. And if you have questions at any time, on the bottom of any of the pages, there's a question button. So you can always click that and it will email the team and we can help answer your questions. So that's a very quick overview of this website. Here's a quick snapshot of our schedule. We're right here at the beginning with round 1 generally running about 6 to 8 weeks. Then we go through a judging phase where each of the criteria is listed within the challenge on what the judges will be looking for. And then we will select a finalist. Our round 1 seminars are running now. So this generally repeats itself all the way into the end of the fall semester into January. Each round's winners culminate in a mentoring opportunity and a finalist event. The Jumpathon event may or may not fit all the way into the final event. We're working out the details here. So check back on the schedule if you have any questions or want more information. This is the web link right here. Okay, so for colleges and universities, the professors, the departments, we'd love to get involved with you. Definitely send us an email and we can talk more about how we can engage you. We're looking to offer Jump into STEM as a low-cost, flexible platform for you to include it as a modular piece or an extracurricular content for your coursework. This is an opportunity to challenge your students on real-world research, which is coming out of things that DOE and the labs are thinking about. It's an opportunity to engage the students in advancing towards these STEM fields, and obviously, problem solving and intellectual engagement. We will also be providing these webinars, which gives you access to building science content and industry expertise. So this is a great opportunity. We already have some colleges signing up and including the challenges in their coursework for this fall. So we're really pleased about that. Now, the meat of the matter here, the current challenge. This is a quick snapshot of the text that I showed you from the live website. connecting the right data at the right time to improve residential building performance. The question we would like students to think about is, how can we tackle connecting behavioral motivations with increasingly accessible energy use data? We're looking for solutions that might address individual households, or perhaps leverage data for large samples of similar households. We really just are seeking your ideas about how we might do this. The objective is to identify and design approaches to influence homeowner decisions and optimize their energy use. So some of the criteria of what we're looking for in the responses, you might consider one or more of the following: how to effectively baseline the home or the specific end use of an appliance, or let me start over. How to effectively baseline the home or specific end use appliances energy use, experimental models to test, monitor, and influence energy use behaviors, simplified data visualization and data schema to capture and display to motivate action. So those are some things to think about as how you might respond to this challenge. I'm excited to have Maddie and Sandy on the line here today, because they're doing some of this right here and now. And what I'm hoping they can present to you is some food for thought on how you might respond to this challenge, thinking about some of the efforts that they each are taking, and how we might build from those efforts and the challenges that they face, so that we can further advance energy performance in homes. So I'll pause there as we shift over to Maddie to speak. I'm just going to quickly look and see if we have any questions. I'll look at see how I can answer these as Maddie's talking. Maddie, I'm going to go ahead and give you.
Awesome. And can you hear me? Okay.
Yes, I can hear you. So
lovely.
I think you have the control right now.
All right.
Great. And we can see your screen. Thank you, Maddie.
Fantastic. All right. Thanks so much for the introduction. And gosh, looking at that's really exciting. It makes me wish I was a student right now and I could participate. But I will do the next best thing and just observe and try to see what everybody is able to come up with, because these are definitely issues we're trying to face at the Department of Energy and lots of the organizations we work with. So really quick, I'm just going to go over kind of big picture why we care about residential energy efficiency at all, at least from the Department of Energy perspective. I'll talk about the Home Energy Score tool as well as the Home Energy Score program, and then highlight a couple newly available resources that may be helpful if you're interested for more information on this topic, to kind of dig a little deeper into all of this. And I will try to speed through my slides so that we have time for not only Sandy, but questions and things afterwards. So as far as the big picture focus on residential, I think for some people these points are obvious, and for others, I think residential can be a really hard sector to address because commercial buildings often have building managers and operations and maintenance staff, when in the context of residential, those are moms and dads and students and tenants and people who maybe are interested in saving money and being comfortable in their homes, but they also are interested in lots of other things. And so trying to kind of get to people through all the noise and explain how they can benefit from energy efficiency is not always clear to people, and it's also a confusing place for folks. So as far as residential buildings overall, residential buildings represent 95% of U.S. buildings. There's 118 million residential homes in the United States. It also represents about 70% of U.S. building stock in terms of square footage. A big one that we're digging deeper into these days at DOE is that residential buildings often represent about 50% of peak demand on electricity grids. And so if you think about it, that has to do with the fact that when people use energy in buildings within a certain area, they tend to all use it at the same time, right? It's the hottest day of the year for everybody in that space. So everybody turns their AC on and things. So how do we figure out how to manage that load so that we're not using the most expensive and polluting energy sources all at once. And it also represents 21% of U.S. energy use. So anything we do in terms of trying to increase efficiency, job growth, positive health outcomes for people across the country, and reduce pollution necessitate improving U.S. housing stock in terms of energy efficiency and comfort. This is going to be a key component to figuring out all of these issues that we like to address across the country. So our residential buildings integration team is the team that I'm on at DOE, where we have goals to reduce the energy use for space conditioning and water heating in homes by 40% from 2010 levels. We target existing homes, new homes, and multifamily in order to do this. And we focus on a number of different technologies and tools and resources in order to try to achieve this. And this is a list of some of the current projects we have going on the RBI team, and the one bolded is Home Energy Score that I'll be talking about more today. So the value add of efficient homes, they bring a lot of things to residents. For one, probably one of the more obvious things is they help reduce costs. Energy costs are higher than either property tax or insurance on average for U.S. homes at about $1,800 per year. So anything we do that helps increase the efficiency of homes can also reduce that cost burden for folks. It's also smart investment. We find that if people invest in efficiency upgrades, particularly things like attic insulation, air sealing, even just proper maintenance of their HVAC equipment, has a pretty high return on investment. And, one report found over 100% investment from attic insulation, and it was the only home improvement upgrade they found to do that, and it was the cheapest upgrade this particular report looked at. But also, I think something that I find very important in this space is it improves quality of life. When you have a more energy efficient home, it means that it doesn't waste as much energy and you don't have as many extremely hot and extremely cold rooms throughout the house. It makes more places in your home enjoyable. And it can also be linked to things that help improve health outcomes. So if you have more control over the way air is moving through and in and out of your home, then you have more control over things like particulates and allergens that might be present in the air as well. But we still face a lot of challenges in the marketplace when it comes to promoting the value of energy efficient homes. We see that home buyers don't have consistent access to home energy information to assist in understanding total home ownership costs. So if you're looking at a variety of homes that you're interested in buying, maybe you're looking, in Boston, Massachusetts, and you're interested in a whole different subset of homes, you won't really have access to information that tells you how much is it likely to cost to heat and cool any given home, what might be the emissions factors associated with energy use in that place. Maybe you care a lot about your impact on the environment, or how comfortable that home is likely to be. Maybe there's a room that's always cold every winter, and it's hard to know that type of information before moving in. We also see that homeowners have limited ways to recoup financial investment in energy upgrades through the home's appraisal. And Sandy will go more into this than I will. But basically, we have some difficulties where if you make an energy upgrade in your home, it can be really difficult to showcase that type of improvement on your home's resale. And if you only did that upgrade a few years ago, a lot of the benefits of that upgrade will be passed along to the next buyer. And we want to make sure that that is reflected in the home sale price and the home's appraisal and the mortgage that the buyer has access to. And some of these problems really come to a head in what I like to refer to as the jammed gears in the real estate market. So what we're trying to do is bring home energy information, as Caroline mentioned, in the right time of the real estate transaction for various folks so that a home's energy use can be appropriately valued. But we have a lot of issues in trying to do that. There's lots of different tools. It can be confusing to figure out which tools are most appropriate at what time. The data isn't necessarily standardized, so the way one person's referring to energy use per square foot per year can actually mean something different depending on where you are. In the appraisal industry, there's a lot of difficulty with having comparable data to assess value, and then a lack of understanding of value. It's hard to kind of say, okay, well, you have, 3-pane windows on the south side of your house, therefore that is worth X amount for your home overall. And so in order to get all these things to be working together, we need to work across a lot of diverse stakeholders and get them all aligned in order for the gear to turn. So our vision is to make reliable home energy information available in the marketplace so that a home's energy performance is visible and can be valued appropriately at time of sale. Sounds pretty basic, but it's taken a lot of work to get us to that point, but we're getting really close, so we're excited about that. So to do this, we want to enable data evaluation, which means that we have good quality standard data that is auto-populated in the right moments. We want to integrate the real estate community so that people can access that data when they need it and also understand about what's the best way to use that information. And then we want to scale these efforts so that people can understand how to do this across the country and not just in very select cities in certain places. So one thing that I find helpful in kind of talking about the different types of home energy information that are available, the real estate industry has a term called green verifications. And this refers to any type of label or sticker provided by a third party that can be applied to a house so that somebody in the real estate industry can better understand that home's energy performance. But not all of these are the exact same. So for instance, one type of green verification is green certifications. So these show that a home achieves a specific threshold and that home, is above that level in terms of performance. So I like to think of parallel food industry products because it makes it easier for people to understand. So this is similar to a home being, or a food item being certified organic. It has to achieve very specific standards in order to achieve that verification. Home energy score is one example of an energy label. So an energy label is closer to a nutrition facts label because any home can get a home energy score. A home energy score is an existing homes product, and then ResNet HERS is the other one listed here, is mostly designed for new homes. But it shows the current state of the home's assets. Just because you have the label doesn't mean it's necessarily performing good or bad, but it gives you information to develop that value judgment off of. And then a verified energy improvements, for instance, the home performance of the Energy Star program, is kind of like a reduced fat sticker. So it shows us that the home is performing better than it was before, but it doesn't necessarily tell us, where it is compared to other homes on the market. We know that it's better than it was. So what I like to kind of say with reduced fat is it can tell us, maybe it's 40% less consuming than it was before. It might still be an Oreo. That's okay. Maybe we really want that. But it gives us the point of comparison is to the home in a previous state, not to other existing homes on the market. Okay, so that was a really quick introduction, but if you guys have specific questions, I can go over those later. But I wanted to jump into the details of the home energy score tool itself. So I like to think of home energy score as a miles per gallon rating for homes. It helps tell potential buyers information about a home's energy features and estimate home energy costs. And then it also provides homeowners guidance on energy improvements to help them make homes more comfortable and reduce costs. Really try to hone in on that message there of comfort and costs that are going to be most applicable to most homes that go through the program. So we like to use home energy score because we really think it's a tool that's fast compared to a lot of other things that are available. It takes less than an hour in most homes to complete. We provide all of the tools for free to assessors to keep the costs low. We've tried to make it really simple with an easy to understand 1 to 10 scale. We've done tons of testing and analysis to make sure that we're giving people as good information as possible, and it's flexible. We provide it through various programs and software throughout the country. And I'll go more into that in a little bit. But one thing that's important to distinguish home energy score from, say, utility bills or something is that it's an asset rating. So it's based off of a building's attributes, its envelope, and its equipment, and then runs all of that information through a building energy model. And that building energy model will then estimate how much energy that home is likely to use given standard weather conditions for that area and given standard operating assumptions. So this is particularly important when it comes to providing information to the real estate industry, because we want to make sure that when we provide a rating on a home, it's a rating on the assets that are actually being transferred at time of sale. It's not a rating on the occupants that happen to be inside the home. So utility bills are partially made up of your home assets, but they're also made up of, how many people are living there, what set points do they like, are they living there year round, or are they there just part of the time? And so this is really a way to make sure that we can have apples to apples comparisons between homes, and that an appraiser and a financer can have a good understanding of what's the true asset being sold on the market. So just some highlights about the methodology. About 50 data points are collected per house by an in-field assessor, and then energy per home is calculated, not energy per square foot. Again, this is most similar to a miles per gallon rating for a car. Bigger cars, you might expect to have a lower MPG rating, but you might need a bigger car. In the same way, bigger homes will tend to score lower on the scale, but some people might need a bigger home. That's okay, but you'd expect it to cost more to run in terms of energy use. And we really went through a lot of effort to make this standard and nationally applicable to existing homes across the country. So a 1 is a home that's expected to use more energy than 85% of US homes, and a 10 is expected to use less energy than 90% of homes. Kind of some easy benchmarks on the scale. So when you get a home energy score report, it would look something like this. And I wanted to just highlight in the blue boxes things that are kind of most important to the real estate industry. There's obviously a few audiences that are involved in making this information applicable, but the real estate industry is really curious to know how much is this going to cost in terms of the total cost of home ownership? When was this assessment done? So how current is this information? And how is that cost determined? So maybe they just want to see the estimated energy use and then do a different calculation for cost, because there's a few different ways to do that. The report also provides recommendations about how to improve a home's energy use. Recommendations are included if they're expected to have a payback of 10 years or less, but you can also show customized recommendations if there's local incentives in a marketplace. So the home energy score, in terms of individual reports, provides things like nutrition facts for home, as I said, or miles per gallon rating. It estimates energy costs, it recommends upgrades, and it helps improve energy literacy among people buying and selling homes. But the data in aggregate can also be helpful on the partnership side for people working with DOE. So people can use this information if they own the data to figure out what upgrades and incentive programs are going to be most effective to achieve housing and energy-related goals in their area. And it's also possible for the appraisal industry and financiers to use this information to track price premiums, sales rate, et cetera. So overall, this is a tool that's designed to provide relevant information to the real estate transaction. It enables home sellers to showcase home efficiency upgrades in a way that is really difficult for them to do without such a tool. And ultimately, we'd like to empower home buyers to understand the true cost of home ownership. It's not meant to, ruin a sale if somebody wants to buy a house, but it happens to have high energy costs, but with the recommendations meant to help them understand and ultimately finance energy upgrades. So just a few highlights on the home energy score program. Unfortunately, this is not a field of dreams. Just because you build a tool that works really great doesn't mean everybody just uses it and understands it. So in fact, if you build it, they probably won't know about it. And if they do, they probably won't understand it. So the blue bar on this is the timeline of progress. And you can see that, that's one of the things that we've worked on, but there's lots of other pieces to getting the full picture together here in terms of implementing the program in a way that people understand and can pick up and run with. So some milestones accomplished to date. We have over 98,000 home energy scores conducted in the field. We have about 600 assessors nationwide, 25 active partners that are managing the data and quality assurance standards between those assessors, different software tools that can link up to our program and use the scoring tool. But really the area that I'm most proud of at this stage is we have the system infrastructure established to help assessors anywhere in the country get up and running and be able to provide this type of information as part of their business. We're also working on automating data review and transfer and harmonizing our data assumptions with other tools to make sure that everybody in the market is on the same page. So one thing that I wanted to highlight is the ways that some cities can start using this information. And what I'm about to show is an example of how the city of Portland, Oregon is doing this. So they had a goal of implementing a home energy labeling policy in an effort to make homes more comfortable, livable, efficient, and to help meet their energy goals. So they can take information that I mentioned that goes into the asset rating, building features, put it into the home energy score tool. They then use another DOE tool called the SEED platform. That's really just a database that helps kind of match information together and keep track of everything. And then that can feed into the real estate portals, so things like Redfin, Zillow, Realtor.com, et cetera, which then can be used by appraisers and financing to then provide mortgage products and then assess market impacts, with the ultimate goal of helping push people to make energy efficient upgrades, see the value of them at time of sale, and improve housing stock overall. And so City of Portland is hoping to use this information to then get a better sense of the lay of the land in Portland and figure out, okay, if we were to incentivize some type of specific upgrade, which homes would qualify for it and how would that impact our ability to meet our energy goals? So as I mentioned, SEED is a DOE tool. There's two major examples of SEED products in the marketplace. So the Green Building Registry is what's being used in Portland, Oregon. Then Helix is another competitor in the marketplace, currently working in the Northeast. And we're also working finally to integrate with financing. And I won't go too much into this because I want to make sure Sandy, who's much more an expert in this, can go into it. But it's included in plans to serve underserved markets with energy efficiency. So just some available resources if you're curious to learn more. Our website, shown at the bottom, homeenergyscore.gov, has the What Does My Score Mean fact sheet to help people better understand what their score report is saying. The Home Energy Information Guide is a product of the Council of Multiple Listing Services, and it's a great kind of way to integrate with real estate and work in this area. And then brand new, just released last week, is the DOE's Home Energy Information Accelerator Toolkit that kind of run through the whole process of unjamming the gears, as I showed earlier on. And I recommend this one partially because it is brand new, so it has links to the other resources I mentioned and more. But that is what I've got, and I think I maybe barely made it in time.
You did a great job. Thanks, Maddie. That's really awesome. So let me see if I can take back control here. Or maybe you can give it to me, Maddie, if that works too.
There we go. Did that work? Great.
Yep, that did work. Perfect. Okay, hopefully everybody is seeing my screen. Let me minimize this so we can get Sandy's slides up. While this is loading here, Just remember, you can type in some questions for Maddie or me or Sandy. We did have one question that came in while I was speaking about the question on how to set up teams and what departments or majors we might be looking for if there's a requirement there. It is open. Any majors are welcome. We are doing a particular marketing focus to the architecture, engineering, and computer science majors, but other majors are certainly welcome. One of the unique things about, or nice things about innovation is when you combine different types of people and the way they think in these majors, that can help lead to unique ideas and solutions. So we definitely encourage other majors to get involved. So Sandy, with that, why don't you go ahead and get started? Let me know when you want to.
All right, thanks, Carolyn. All right, Maddie has done a great job in setting me up for the final presentation here. So what Maddie has just presented to you is a lot of the information that appraisers use, and yet we don't have all that information to use in valuing a home. An appraiser, simply stated, what we do is a property appraisal is the analysis of the data to develop the value of a specific property as of a specific date and using a specific value definition. So that's basically what I do as a real estate appraiser. And when this idea of energy efficient, green homes, high performance homes, zero energy ready homes, all the labels that are out there came about years ago. And I got involved with the first green home built in my community. It was very clear that we had a huge data problem. And the problem was we can't see what's behind the walls. And so what Maddie has just explained to you is a very good way for appraisers to get a very good idea of how that home is performing based on the assets that are there and things that maybe an appraiser is not qualified to determine. Yet if they have a home energy score, that would be helpful in helping the appraiser to understand why the home may be more valuable than a competing home that doesn't have the upgrades. Let's go next slide, please. All right, so data sources positively or negatively affect the outcome of an appraisal. Energy efficiency is in demand. It's one of the top 5 desired home features that's from 2 studies that came out. 2016 NAHB survey and then 2018 NAR did a sustainability report, and always energy efficiency comes in the top 5 most desired features of a home. And yet when you look at many of appraisals in the market, real estate appraisals on homes, I would say 90 to 95% of those do not address energy efficiency at all. And a lot of that goes back to they don't have the data to address it. They can't see what's behind the walls. They're not seeing the assets that are there. 71% of realtors say promoting energy efficiency in their listings is valuable. That came from a 2017 report NAR published. Now, what's interesting about that report is if you looked at the majority of the MLSs, and you looked at Zillow, Redfin, any of those websites that advertise homes, you will see very few of them that actually give you energy data. Very few that will give you green certifications or home energy scores or HERS scores. And I hear from some people that say, well, that's less than 1% of all the homes that are listed that even have that information, so they don't even bother to put it in their database. Well, why not put it in the database when it's one of the top 5 features people are looking for? So that's the problem that appraisers have. If it's really important, it should be in the multiple list. It should be something accessible to the appraiser at the time of the appraisal. Let's go to the next slide, please. MRIS, multiple list service. Multiple listing is a database that's set up for advertising homes for sale. It's a realtor tool in selling homes. And the MRIS is the largest MLS in the country. So it has the most number of realtors and listings in the country. And they report that there are over 30,000 searches a month in the database for different eco-friendly features. And our ongoing study consistently finds that eco-friendly homes sell more quickly at higher prices. Again, if that's true, Why are we not seeing more and more analysis of energy? Why aren't we seeing more and more fields available for the appraiser, for the buyer in the market to have clarity on what they're buying? So that's a big missing link there is, yeah, they're searching for energy features, but many times what they're having to do is search by word instead of by a field that is searchable. Let's go to the next slide. So here's the industry's problem. Here's a picture of a home, and I think this one is from Virginia. Has no energy upgrade. So let's put, and it sold at $525,000. Let's click the next one, and so let's put a $20,000 kitchen in that, and you'll get a sale price or an appraised value of $535,000. So you're recouping 50% of your upgrades. Now let's click one more time, and you'll see we're going to put a $25,000 energy efficient upgrade in it. What is the house appraised for or sell for? $525,000. You're not getting anything back. Why? Because there's not clarity in the sale, because the buyers may not even understand that the home they're purchasing has all these features, or maybe they know they have the features, but they don't understand how that affects the energy use, the comfort of the home, the health issues, the lower cost per month. And very rarely will you see an agent that will actually set you down with the 5 houses you're looking at and show you utility bills for all 5 and explain to you why one has a lower utility bill than another or why one has a lower energy score than another. So that has to come into play in the market. So that means the data needs to be readily accessible. I think I have another click on this one. So homes are not properly valued due to a lack of accurate, verified data on the home performance features. That comes from National Association of Realtors and from the Appraisal Institute. The Appraisal Institute is an organization of professional appraisers. We do a lot of education, and you'll see some more of our data as we move through here. So let's go to the next slide. So best practice advice from an appraiser, and that appraiser happens to be me, is to include the green or energy certification, the AI residential green and energy efficient addendum, and attach it to the multiple list. And I'll show you in the next couple slides why that's important. Next bullet. Label the electrical box. That's something that I've been asking energy auditors, energy raters, green raters, anybody that does any updates to a home to put a sticker in the electrical box. Because when homeowners leave, they often, or go to sell the home, they will forget about things they did to upgrade the furnace and upgrade the insulation or the lighting. They will remember the granite countertops, the new kitchen cabinets, and the new flooring, but they won't remember the other things that keep the home more comfortable, healthier, and lower cost. So if you put a sticker in the electrical box, the next buyer, the next realtor, the next appraiser will be able to open that electrical box and see the sticker to see when things were done and who did those upgrades to the home. So it's kind of like a seal that's going to stay there. And the reason I say that is I have been appraising for more than 30 years. And during the foreclosures and not so long ago, the houses that were foreclosed on, the owners left and they took everything they could, but they never took the electrical box. That's high voltage they don't want to deal with. So if you put a sticker in the electrical box, it'll be there for the next buyer. Next bullet, please. Provide sufficient details in MLS in searchable fields. You heard me speak earlier about searches of MLSs. Recently, I did a study and we had to search 5 MLSs doing word searches because the fields that were available and searchable had not been populated by the agents, or the population of them was incorrect. So we had to do word searches to pull out sales that actually had energy efficiency or green features involved in them. So we need the fields populated and from a trusted source. So if the agent could actually type in an address and it could ping off a website and bring in that data accurately, that would make valuation or appraisals more accurate in the market, and that would be more clarity for the buyers in the market. Next bullet. We want to recognize that improper marketing of high performance home listings can be a liability for the agents. The biggest thing I hear, I speak before real estate agents, to appraisers and builders in the market. And the agents, when I say, why aren't you populating the green fields? Why don't you put the energy score in there? And they'll say, well, my broker doesn't want me to do that for liability reasons? What if we're wrong, or what if that information isn't correct? Well, I'm here to tell you that the world is litigious, and they can sue you for not putting that information in. Sooner or later, some seller is going to be suing a realtor for not maximizing the marketing of a home that is energy efficient or green. So we need to have proper marketing of those homes if they want to get the best sale price, and if they want to get a database set up where it shows that these homes sell for more. That data has to be available. Let's go to the next slide, please. All right, so here's a good example. You can download this entire report free. Just Google the name or go to our Pearl Home Certification website, and this report is downloadable from there. There were 4 of us appraisers that worked on this report. It was a study in Virginia, and we did a little bit in Maryland, a little bit outside of the belt of DC. And what we did is we looked at actual sales of homes that were had a Pearl certification on them. Pearl certifies homes with green assets, energy efficient assets, and they give them different labels. And so we studied all the sales that they had in the market, and we compared them to homes that were similar in the same neighborhoods and sold around the same time, but didn't have the Pearl certification and didn't have the upgrades, the energy or green upgrades. And what we found is when a home was marketed where the agent really focused in on the energy efficiency and the benefits and the label as a green or energy efficient home, those homes sold for about 5% more than homes that did not have those assets or did not have that label. But we found that if they didn't market those things, and yet it was a Pearl certified home, and yet the agent didn't really go the extra mile to advertise it or talk about the benefits, they got 0 to maybe 1% sales price premium. So there it shows you that if you're not marketing it, people don't know what they're buying. So why would they be willing to pay more for a home with green features if they don't understand what they're buying, or if you're not even advertising it? So that's one of our biggest things, is it's got to be marketed properly. Then it's got to be sold for the right price. Then the appraiser will have the data to value it for more. Let's go to the next slide. Here's another one that I did with an appraiser out of Northern California. We studied homes in the San Francisco Bay Area, an area where you would expect the greenest homes and the greenest appraisers and the greenest realtors in the world, because that's where it seems like it all started, is in California. And yet when we did the study, we found predominantly the sales price premium was somewhere around 2.19%. That's not huge. And it really should have been more. And we found that the same issues in Northern California, Silicon Valley area, were the same issues we found in Virginia. The agents often did not advertise these homes or their benefits or the energy efficiency, or they didn't even understand what a green home was. We interviewed every agent involved in those sales that we used, and the agents, we asked them, what is a green home, or what's an energy efficient home? And repeatedly we would hear, we're really not sure. Well, how come you didn't put the energy data in there? Well, we didn't really want to put it in there, but for fear of it wouldn't be true, then we would be sued. So again, we've got a data problem. If we had a trusted source, we could pull it in. I think it would make a huge difference in the marketing, a huge difference in sale prices, huge difference in valuation, which would affect mortgage lending as well. So let's move on to the next slide. And again, this one you can download as well from the internet if you'll go to Build It Green website, or you can go to my website and I have them under resources. Here is one database that has opened up through a memorandum of understanding with the Appraisal Institute and the ResNet. ResNet, as Maddie mentioned earlier, does energy ratings mainly on new construction. They can do existing homes, but because they cost a little more because they're diagnostically tested, it's usually the new home buyer that does these, or the new home builder. We have a portal now. It's an appraiser portal. And if you're a member of the Appraisal Institute, you can go into the portal and get some really great data. Now, if you're not a member of the Appraisal Institute, anyone can go into the ResNet website. It's resnet.us website. And you can put in an address and find out if it has a HERS rating on it. But that's about all you'll find is address, the HERS rating, and the person rated it the date it was rated. Let's go to the next slide, and I'll show you what the appraiser has access to now. If you're a member of the Appraisal Institute, we can go into the appraisal portal, and we can search by city, state, zip code, by address, We can search by her range of HERS scores. Here is a search that I did in my market. For instance, I live in a town of 18,000 population, and I wanted to find out, search my MLS to find out how many sales had HERS ratings on them in the last 5 years. I came out with 0, none. So I went to the resident appraisal portal and I put in my town, searched it, and found 200 in the last 5 years, 200 HERS ratings. Now, those aren't sales, those are just homes with HERS ratings. So then I merged the two and found that a lot of those sales that were in the MLS had HERS ratings on them, but the agents didn't populate the fields. So it doesn't help the appraiser when the fields aren't populated. But this will open up a new data base for us to analyze energy. And as you can see, it gives us the home address, the HERS score, builder's name, the HERS rating company, the annual energy cost, the annual savings, which if we can measure dollars in savings, we can develop a value for energy efficiency as appraisers. Anything we can measure and quantify, we can quantify a dollar amount. We can give the year of construction, and this is also another biggie. The last item here, Energy Star certified. There is no other database we can go to and find Energy Star homes by address. Now I have a list. You can see there are several in my city that have Energy Star ratings on them. Before, we never knew where they were. Let's move on to the next slide. So years ago, when I first appraised the first green home in my community, I found that the appraisal forms that are out there, Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, the mortgage lenders use a form called 1004 for appraisals on homes. It had none of this information in there that would actually bring out features of a home that made it different from the home next door or a code-built home, what we would say a home built to the local building code. So the Appraisal Institute published this addendum called the Residential Green and Energy Efficient Addendum. And it brings out all the features in the home that make it more energy efficient. It talks about the green features, about labels, verifications, certifications, solar photovoltaics, renewable energy that would make a home more valuable, would benefit that homeowner for having that home. So we're encouraging appraisers, realtors, builders to use this form and use it as a communication tool between the lender and the appraiser, the realtor, and any potential buyer that's out there. Pearl Home Certification automatically fills this out for every homeowner. They've done over 2,000 of them now. And when the home goes up for sale, Pearl gives them a marketing package, and that marketing package is attach the screen addendum to the MLS. That way potential buyers will have the knowledge and appraisers that are using it as comparable sales. Let's move on to the next one. So we've also written a guide that was recently published earlier this year called the Appraisal Institute Guide to Completing and Using the Appraisal Institute Residential Green and Energy Efficient Addendum. And this is fairly new. It was sponsored, it was actually funded by the Department of Energy through Lawrence Berkeley National Lab. And this guide will map the different sections of the guide to the appraisal form, and it will map it to how can the realtor use this form, and it will map it to how is it important to the lender. So this is a great guide. We want to get out there and have people use it and realize how important that addendum is. Let's move to the next slide. So there are other resources that have been written. These are the only two books that I'm aware of that have been published on green features or energy efficient features in homes and commercial. I call these the bookends. The book on the left, The Valuation of Green Commercial Real Estate, was published this past year by Tim Rundy and his wife Stacy Thorey. It is an excellent book on the commercial side. And on the right-hand side, I think this was an excellent book on the residential side because I wrote it. So a little self-promotion there. But both of these are textbooks used in the Appraisal Institute's case studies on commercial and case studies on residential courses that we teach. And my book was written for realtors, appraisers, builders, and homeowners, energy raters, anybody that's involved in the real estate transaction. I wanted to bring it all together, a complete story. So that's, if you are interested, the book is on the Appraisal Institute's website. You can buy both of them there. I think they'll give you a discount for the total for the two. Let's move to the next slide. Yep, we're at the end now. We're for us. That's coming back to you, Carolyn, for questions and answers.
Right, right. I apologize for all the logistical errors here. So we are coming to the close here. I don't see very many questions in the audience. Let's see. If you do have questions, go ahead and send those in through the JUMP process on jump.ideascale.com, and we will try and address those. Clearly, one of them is getting computers working better and more time. Just a quick advertisement here for the upcoming webinars. We have a webinar coming up on the September 5th, and then again one on September 26th. So I hope you can join us for that. And again, thank you so much to Maddie and Sandy for a great presentation. I should have given you more time. You guys gave us some great food for thought, and I hope the students are able to connect some of the thoughts you had about the importance of data in the transaction. Clearly, there's a lot of people to put in the know, and then there's a lot of data to get out there and clean and use. So hopefully students can think about that and help us get data to the right place at the right time to make our buildings better. So with that, I will bring us to a close, and hope you all have a great day. Thank you
so much.
Thanks, and have a great day.